This is Rob Liefeld. Kai Review is going.
Hey guys, just finished watching Swamp Thing, Season 1, Episode 4, The Darkness on the Edge of Town. Oh my god, again, what an amazing episode. And like I said in my review for last episode, I started to notice in the Episode 3, just a few little things that kind of slipped through the I guess the production or something like that, where you could see the camera crew's reflection in things. You know, there was a mug that was really obvious. It was like a big shot of a black mug, and you could see the boom mic, the whole camera and everything very clearly. Then there was later on in like a window, you could kind of make out a person there, and then when you look at the scene, you can realize, oh, that person's not in that scene. So I think that was those are two things I noticed there, and it's kind of interesting. In this episode, I didn't see anything. This episode was just perfect. You know, I didn't see any little things that were kind of slip and slide. But even a thing like that, like not checking the mug or something like that, that could just be something that, you know, that could have slipped it with or without this budget problems. But maybe if they had more time to work on this, you know, they weren't rushing on completely changing the ending and completely doing a whole new thing, those things could have been caught or something. But they don't ruin the episode whatsoever. It's just like a little thing that I noticed. And I'm really happy to see, like I said, that I didn't notice anything in this fourth episode. So I think so far we still have not seen the effects, too many effects from them getting canceled and getting shut down early and stuff. And there's actually an interview with Dirk Mears, the guy who actually plays Swamp Thing, like, who's underneath all the makeup and the costume and stuff. There's a video over on Collider on YouTube here where they talk to him about the cancellation. I think they only have like a 11-minute video, but they actually have a full-on audio podcast. It's probably a little bit longer. They go into a deeper dive with him. And I think it's a really interesting video. You definitely need to check that out. I think it's going to be, he just talks definitely about the episodes and stuff, and what it was like for them on set, and how it talked a little bit about the ending, and how, you know, they had their episode 10. It's when they got people that came on set and they said, yeah, that's it, you're shutting down. You have like 2 weeks or a week to wrap things up. And he wasn't sure about how they were going to do stuff. They already had the script for episode 11, and they were like, oh my god, how are we going to end that? How are we going to finish this, right? And that's how they ended up switching it up, and he was actually kind of he was surprised with how they were able to finish up the storyline as to where things go. Now, he doesn't go into obviously too much detail or anything like that, can't spoil it, but I think it's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. Now, since it sounds like they have a good plan, they have a good idea of how to end it, I think it's going to be interesting to see as to where things go. Maybe it's obviously going to be very much of a rushed ending, so we'll have to wait and see as to how things go with that. But he was very satisfied with the ending of this show. So I think this could be interesting to see as to where things could go with this. This episode was really good. I really liked this episode. I just definitely can't wait to see as to where things kind of end. We start off the episode with kind of like a lumberjack getting bit by a dead body and starts hallucinating, ends up cutting off his arm, killing himself. Then we see that Abby gets a sample of Swamp Thing from himself, and then we see that Jason Woodrue is studying the sample, so that's going to be interesting to see as to where things go with that. Then we see that the sheriff gets scratched, and then the sheriff ends up scratching Abby, and that's when she goes to see Swamp Thing, and he kind of saves her by just pulling the stuff out from her. So I think that's really going to be interesting to see as to where things go with this. I'm kind of different to see as to where things going to go with this show. I mean, I really want to see like a Swamp Thing, big battle type thing. I mean, I'm getting kind of tired of these shows, movies, everything all superhero related. Just kind of having the superhero and the and the bad guy being the exact same powers and stuff. But Swamp Thing is such a unique thing. We've never seen anything like it, that I kind of want to see him versus the Rot, but the Rot's version of what's their Swamp Thing type thing. So maybe not an exact copy. Obviously, I don't want a copy of Swamp Thing versus each other. That'd be a little bit too boring. Or a little bit just kind of, we've seen that before ever since Iron Man. In a lot of the Marvel movies, you just see a copy of the superhero as a villain. But in here, having a different sort of what's the Rot's version of the Swamp Thing versus Swamp Thing, that could be something really cool. But I just don't know now, do they have the budget left over for this? How much of a budget do they have going into episode, the last few episodes type thing? At what point, they might have already had episode 9 and all that stuff done. We'll see how the CG ends up turning out, because that's obviously they didn't have time to fully CGI everything properly. But if they already had, a costume made, if they already had something like that, because it looks like they're doing a lot of practical effects with this show. And if you look at some of the behind the scenes videos and stuff, they do talk a lot about how they've been using a lot of practical effects. The same practical effects team that worked on Aquaman and stuff. So I think that's really interesting seeing that, and that's going to be cool to see as to where things go with the ending. So if they do get like a big bad, something to kind of a bit more of a physical manifestation of the rot type thing, so that Swamp Thing can have something to actually fight, because it seems like every time, it's only episode 4, but it's only episode 4 of 10, or let's say episode 4 of 13 is what they were wanted to. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt by acknowledging that they would have had more if they could have. They were supposed to have more. But, by every time we see him on screen so far, he's just been overly powered, and he's just, he's been, nothing has been able to stop him. The first guy he attacks, he's just able to just rip apart like nothing. No one's ever been able to put up a fight whatsoever, And in this episode, it was really interesting seeing him. He was able to kind of absorb the poison from Abby and kind of give it away and stuff, and that was kind of interesting dealing with that, and dealing with their relationship is really going to be quite cool to see as to kind of where things could go with all this. So definitely I'm excited to see as to where things go. I love this show. The show is really awesome. There's a petition on change.org to save Swamp Thing. At this point, it only has 3,326 signatures on here, and they're, the next goal is to get to 5,000. So I'll try and put that in a link in the description to check that out. But we just have to wait and see as to where things go, and we need to just keep pushing it out there and just keep pushing the hashtag on social media, hashtag Save Swamp Thing. And I don't even think it even has 1,000 likes, 1,000 posts yet. So we need to get that up there and start posting more about that. So let me know what you think, guys, about this episode in the comments below, about season 1, episode 4 of Swamp Thing. You said, do you like this show so far? What do you like about it? What do you don't like about it? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.
For Kyle Reviewed on YouTube, the very best Kyle Reviewed channel on all the YouTube Kyle Reviewed channels. You got that? You got that right? Thank you for watching Kyle Reviewed. Deadpool and I thought it was fantastic. You need to like, you need to subscribe. You know how it's done. Like, subscribe. Right, DP? All right, Kyle Reviewed.
Swamp Thing. You are